Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Now we're at pattern 3 of the 3-note string system for the major scale. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the drill now. You should have learned pattern 1 and pattern 2 and be making music with them. Do remember over on the website you can get a little chart with the neck diagrams and tabs and that sort of stuff that you'll probably find very helpful. Let's get to a close-up and check out how to play it. So pattern 3 of the G major scale, 3 notes per string. Pattern 3 will be starting on the 3rd note of the G major scale, which is G, A, B. So there's our B note there with the first finger, 7th fret of the thicker string. We're going to play 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret. On the next string, we're going to play 7th fret, 9th fret, 10th fret. Same thing on the next string, 7th fret, 9th fret, 10th fret. Now on the 3rd string, we're going to play 7, 9 and 11. We'll probably have to change the fingering there. I'll talk about that more in a sec. First finger then will creep up to the 8th fret on the 2nd string and we'll play 8, 10, 12 and the same pattern on the thinner string again, 8, 10, 12. So there's a little bit more going on with this one compared to some of the other patterns. Thicker string, we've just got that bit that we have to remember. First finger, 2nd finger, 4th finger. Now the pattern, the kind of the visual pattern for the 5th string and the 4th string is the same both times. Now I sometimes prefer to finger this 2nd finger, 3rd finger. But again, this is to do with my personal preferences and to do with what's going on the 3rd string, which is this. So it seems to make sense. I don't play down here on the thicker string that much if I'm doing lead solos usually. So if I'm on this, it just seems to, you know, I don't like using 3rd and 4th fingers like this. That's a personal thing again. You might find it easy, in which case you've got a decision to make. I find that one easier, particularly for the transition there onto the 3rd string. So fingering the same there on the 5th and 4th strings. First finger staying in the same fret for the move to the 3rd string, but then when we go to the 2nd string, it's the same kind of visual pattern as we had on the 3rd string, but up a fret. Thinnest 2 strings are the same. Then back. Now here again, I've finished there on the root note. Now, a lot of people when they're practicing these patterns, and I did as well when I was a teenager and I first learned them, would always just start on the lowest note of the pattern and I'd play up as far as I could and then down the pattern. And that's kind of how I'd practice it. These days, I really, the longer I play, I think the more important it is to be seeing and understanding the function of each note in the scale, and the best way to do that is to be seeing it in relation to the root note or the shapes of the cage system. You know, there's the C-shaped chord for the G major scale. So that's really what I'm seeing when I'm playing this pattern. I'm still kind of seeing this, even though it's kind of moving into this pattern of the G. It's kind of based around that for me. That's where my kind of the function of the notes is sitting in my mind. So it's really important to see the relationship between the chord behind the scale and the scale itself. And I think that practicing starting and finishing on the root note is a really good way to kind of consolidate that information in your mind. So you might find that it's a better way to practice it like that, is to be playing from the root note and then coming back and finishing on it as well, just to kind of really make sure that in your mind that you're seeing this shape and that you're aware of where the notes are in the scale and the chord and how they're fitting together. I think that makes memorizing and accessing the scale a lot easier, rather than having to think, well, I'm on pattern 3 from the G major scale, so I start on a G, then find that root note, there's the B, and that, you know, it's just in the moment of the music, that's too many steps to get to where you want to get to. So whereas this way, if you know that shape, or you know that shape and you know that you're going to start on that root note, that's, you know, you're there, you know the shape based off of that root note position straight away. Potentially an even better note to start and finish on would be this G. It's with the first finger, which is always a nice one. You should be familiar with those root notes as well, something that be using, especially if you're playing your minor pentatonic scales and stuff like that in the key of A, using G as the A Dorian mode or whatever. You know, first finger's likely to be hanging out there a bit anyway. So starting and finishing on that one, going all of the way down. You know, it'll give you faster access to that scale pattern than if you're practicing there, or even worse, starting on the lowest note. Yeah, I say it every time, but it's only because it's really important and I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made. Make sure you spend some time now making music with this new pattern before you start combining it with the other patterns, or even worse, learning any more. So a couple of weeks just on this pattern 3, really making sure that you've got it down, that you're confident with the fingering, that you can forget about the fingering and use just one finger and you're confident you know where the dots are, that kind of stuff. Then mix it in with pattern 2, get those two combined, then pattern 1 again and mix those up. It's really important that you do it that way. That way you'll develop a real solid base in a relationship with the things that you've learned before you start incorporating any new ideas. I really hope you enjoy it. Do subscribe to my channel if you dig what I do. Hit the like button. Let me know in the comments how you're getting on with this course so far. And if you're not over on the website, do go and check it out. You can save the lesson for later and it'll keep track of where you're up to in the course and all that sort of stuff. So do go and have a look at that if you're not there already. I'll see you for plenty more very soon. You take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.